Hello and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where we're going to take a look at another preview for the Helsmiths of Hashut. This one is a how to play or get the best out of them from Anthony Magro, aka the AOS coach. If you keep an eye on Age of Sigmar channels, you will probably have heard of the AOS coach. Fantastic YouTube resource, really knowledgeable guy, knows a lot about what's going on, certainly in his area for Age of Sigmar, but also just wonderful tactical insights. Definitely more of a competitive slant, so not quite what I do on this channel. In fact, so much more interesting and more tactical than anything that I talk about. So definitely check them out. They are linked in the description below. They've done an article previously. I think it was the Soulbright Gravelords. They did a how to play months ago now, it feels. But I'm really interested to see what Anthony has to say on this one, because he probably is one of the most knowledgeable AOS players that I'm aware of, certainly that has a YouTube channel that I watch. And with this being a new army, and they feel like they have their own kind of unique playstyle going on, and I think I'm going to find this one interesting. Hopefully you do too, and if you do, definitely go and check out the AOS coach. As I say, linked in the description below, show them some support. But let's see what they have to say. So, the Helsmiths of Hashut, forged in fire, built for victory. The Helsmiths of Hashut are nearly with us, as you can no doubt tell from the tang of sulphur and the cries of suffering demons. What does a crying demon sound like? Let me know in the comments. Anthony Magro from the AOS Coach YouTube channel has put on his biggest hat to explain some of their best battlefield secrets. I love that model. What is it about a big mechanical bull? Why? It's so Ray Harryhausen. I just love it. I don't know why, because it isn't, but in my brain that's exactly where a lot of AOS takes me to. If it's not Jason the Argonaut, it's Conan the Barbarian. And these could easily fit in both. But now we're going to hear from Anthony, so let's take a look. The forges of tyranny burn once more. The Helsmiths of Hashut have joined the battlefields of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and they're an absolute powerhouse. They aren't just about incredible models. Their rules bring something unique. This is an army that thrives on synergy, resource management, and brutal precision, rewarding players who plan ahead, which I think is what we got a taste of in the last couple of previews that we've covered. Whether you want to dominate the midboard with unyielding infernal razors, annihilate targets with demon-fueled dominator engines, smash into enemy lines with bolt centaurs, or rain destruction with war machines, the Helsmiths give you tools to play your way and win in style. How they play. At their core, the Helsmiths of Hashut operate as a fortified fire base that expands behind a shield of tough infantry. They rely on unique demonic power points, resource mechanic that represents the volatile demon energy powering their engines. If you play conservatively, you can maintain steady pressure, but the real fun comes when you turn up your DPP to transform a unit into a pure annihilator. For instance, for each point you spend, you gain +1 rend on your Infernal Razor's ranged weapon. +1 to your Bull Centaur's charge rolls. We didn't see that in the preview. And unlock a ward on the Infernal Cohort. Your DPP will let you supercharge important units and adapt to the flow of the battlefield. And that's exactly what I was saying. Obviously, AOS Coach knows so much better than I do, but that was the vibe that I was understanding with what they were getting at. It's a completely new thing for an AOS army in such a minute and tactical way. It's fascinating. The 4 battle formations let you build on your preferred playstyle to generate more power, while certain key units are suffused with 3 DPP. Demonsmith Cabal will take priests and wizards like Urak-Tar to the next level with +1 to casting rolls, unbinding rolls, banishment rolls, and chanting rolls. War Machine lovers can get an additional attack with the Castigation Battery, while the Bullfather's Horns will add 2-inch to the move characteristic of monsters in cavalry, including Bull Centaurs, Anointed Sentinels, and the Infernal Taurus. +2-inch to move on your cavalry units is very nice. So the Demonsmith Cabal, it's a passive ability, Arcane Dominance. Effect: add 1 to the casting rolls, unbinding rolls, banishment rolls, and chanting rolls for friendly Helsmiths of Hashut wizards and priests when they have 3 demonic power points. So you have to build into it. It's not a guaranteed thing, but if you do build into it, and you're probably going to be taking these units under that ability, they're going to become even more powerful. The Castigation Battery, passive again, experimental munitions. Effect: add 1 to the attacks characteristic of ranged weapons used by friendly Helsmiths of Hashut war machines when they have 3 demonic power points. So 1 extra attack might not sound like a lot, but they're also going to have their own inbuilt sliding scale of buff with the demonic power points, depending on how many you put into them. 3 obviously being the best, that might do something else, which is going to pair well with this castigation battery. But extra attacks is not something to necessarily forget about. And finally, the Bullfather's Horns, the passive Bulls of the Ziggurat. Effect, add 2 inches to the move characteristic of friendly Helsmiths of Hashut cavalry and monster units while they have 3 demonic power points. We got a little glimpse of what the Sentinels and the Bull Cavalry can do. They sounded incredibly strong, and you're going to be powering them up for that maybe turn 2, turn 3 charge anyway, so if you're building into that style of army, an extra 2-inch D movement, almost guaranteeing you that charge potentially. Definitely a nice little additional buff. Helsmiths have access to 3 heroic traits, 3 artifacts of power, a spell law, and a prayer law. A few personal favourite options include an eye for weakness, which lets you pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches to get +1 to wound against in combat. That'll bring your Bull Centaurs down to wounding on 2 up, and Infernal Cohort wounding on a 3 up. That's a nice buff. Crucible of Spite grants a once per battle ability that will immediately give the bearer 3 DPP. Put this on your Demon Smith, and when you activate it, you'll get to add a massive 18-inch range to a friendly war machine. This combination would give the Death Shrieker rocket battery a massive 42-inch range with serious anti-monster power. That's quite a bold threat. And Hateful Fractures we have seen previewed. It is a spell that casts on a 6-up, but it lets you pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches and halves its move until the start of your next turn. That's one way of slowing your opponent down while you rain blunderbuss and immolation cannons into your opponent. Yep, definitely, or if you want to slow them down from taking objectives and things, that gives you quite a lot of threat from getting that off, because halving the movement at most, I think units are movement 6, standard troops, cavalry is usually 12. 3 inches and 6 inches respectively is a hell of a, 50%, it's huge. Absolutely huge, especially for a big unit that your opponent was hoping to charge with. Probably a big, scary unit as well. Really, really nice. A couple of the heroic traits. First one, Tyrants and Overseers. Hero only, an eye for weakness. This is the ability in full. Declare, pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of this unit to be the target. Effect, until the start of your next turn, add 1 to wound rolls for the combat attacks made by friendly Helsmiths of Hashut units that target that enemy unit. +1 to wound against, alright, it's a single unit, but it's a unit that you're probably going to destroy, looking at the stats of some of this stuff. Very nice. And then the artifact of power, Dark Gifts of Hashut, again hero only, the Crucible of Spite. Effect, give up to 3 demonic power points to this unit. However, you cannot allocate or give any more demonic power points to this unit for the rest of the battle. Oh, interesting. So it is an instant power up of, let's say 3, because if you're going to pop that, you're probably not going to put any other points on them. You're not going to waste any of your other resources. But once you've done that, you can't do it again. Interesting trade-off. That's really fun. And again, it adds into that tactical analysis and how you're going to be using and playing with these units. I like that choice, because it's very powerful. But once per battle, and you can... Wow, yeah, no, that's... This is the kind of thing I want to see them play with more. That risk-reward element of rules writing. Key units to watch. Each unit brings something unique to your army and complements a particular playstyle. Hobgrot Vandals have a pre-game move to get a head start on scoring objectives and screening out your enemies. The War Despot will improve your control score by 3 with a radius that grows based on the number of DPP, while the Anointed Sentinels have Strike First if you declare a countercharge command on this unit. Stalwart and Cruel Infernal Cohorts and Hashutite Spears form the backbone of your force. They're not just objective holders, they're a wall of steel that buys time for your Infernal Razors and War Machines to work their magic. They hold back the enemy from your ranged units with anti-cavalry +1 rend and anti-charge +1 rend on their Hashutite Spears, while with 2 DPP they gain a 5-up ward, which we saw on the last video. Dominator engines are a centerpiece that can be built with the Bane manacles for melee or immolation cannons. If the former is in combat with an enemy hero, it can fight twice using the Engine of Domination ability. That's a real head taker. Fight twice is always nice as well. Both the Tormentor Bombard and the Death Shrieker rocket battery create carnage from long range. The Death Shrieker is great against monsters and war machines, gaining an additional point of rend against these targets, while the Hungering Flames ability will change the D3 plus 2 damage of Hashut rockets to a flat 5 against monsters or war machines once per turn. Yikes, yeah, that's guaranteed 5 damage. I wonder how many shots it is. It can't be a huge amount of shots with an ability like that. Once per turn ability, it's pretty good. The Bombard has a massive 30-inch range and earns -2 rend against infantry and cavalry. That's nice. Additionally, once per turn, the Calculated Trajectory ability can grant +2 to hit if you're targeting a unit with 5 or more models who are more than 12 inches away. So you really want to be targeting infantry from the get-go on that one, don't you? Bigger, slower units. Oh man, that sounds brutal. These guys are going to be strong. Uruk-Tar is a worthy Warmaster to lead your Zahadron. He has a solid range profile that can shoot in combat and a dangerous melee profile that gains +1 damage on the charge. As well as being a 2-cast wizard, he lets you manipulate your force's DPP during the enemy hero phase, allocating them between units. Oh, that's strong. That's a very strong ability right there. You could initially choose to infuse your war machines for devastating shooting attack, but then move them to your infernal cohort for increased defensive capabilities. Through the Pitiless Trampling ability, you'll deal D3 mortal damage on the charge, and move 2d6, which can help you jump screens and fight priority target. I need to see that ability of manipulating which units have demonic power points, because doing that in your enemy phase to really bolster your defenses is, this sounds so gross. In the best way possible, but this sounds gross. But we do have Uruk-Tar, the first Demon Smith. This is his once per turn army any charge phase ability, Pitiless Trampling. Declare if this unit charged this phase, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch of it to be the target. Effect inflict D3 mortal damage on the target, then roll 2d6. This unit can move a distance up to the value of the roll. During that move, it can pass through models in the target unit, but must end that move in combat. So you charge in, you do your D3 mortal damage, which is a little bit of chip damage, but it's something. And then potentially leapfrog that unit to get further into your enemy's back line. Very nice. Keyword on that one, Rampage. Regiments of Renown. You can choose between 2 Regiments of Renown to join other Chaos Forces. I can see the Cursed Steel Battery being a popular option as it gives you a Death Smith, a Torment Bombard, and a Death Shrieker Rocket Battery. You also get the Reinforced Demon Steel spell, which ignores the first point of damage to each friendly Helsmith unit wholly within 12 inches of the caster, while Display of Total Power allows your war machines to earn DPP. I'd like to know more about that as well, because that ranged threat is something that certainly my Chaos Army with Dark Oath is missing. Maybe I need to make a pact with Hashut. So AOS Coach closing thoughts. I'm excited to see the Mortal Realms expand with a new faction that offers something unique to the battlefield. Helsmiths can play in all phases of the game with strong units that have interesting abilities, and enough roster flexibility to play with multiple styles. I cannot wait to see how the community embraces the Helsmiths of Hashut. If you love the strategic puzzle of resource management combined with overwhelming firepower, this faction will be your new obsession. One of my favourite parts of the narrative is learning about the ziggurats across the Mortal Realms, such as Forge Anathema in Akshi, Urzon in Gur, Zar-Visor in Shaiish, and Mospelzar in Shamon. Just reading through their stories inspired paint scheme and conversion ideas. The Zar-Visor not only used demon smithery, but also renowned for using the souls of the dead in their industry. This immediately got me thinking about a Dominator engine surrounded by a swirling spirit host. Interesting. And this is what they need to do with this book and their lore, I suppose. They need to give you a reason why they're resurfacing now, what they've been doing, where they are. Sounds like they have some interesting choices to pick from. The narrative's going to be the interesting bit for me. I'm not picking up this army box, although they sound very good. The models are stunning. But I'm tempted to hold off, because I wouldn't be doing a full army of them. As nice as they are, I just adore my Dark Oath. But I may pick up the Battle Tome once that's released. It depends obviously what else is coming out around that time. it isn't a pressing thing for me. But I think AOS Coach has just given a really interesting breakdown. He's picked out some of his favourite points. Obviously we get some snapshots of some of the rules and the passive abilities and things again. But it sounds like there's a lot in this army, and alright, you're going to have to be keeping track of those demonic power points, where you're using them, which units have them, but Uruk-Tar being able to play about with that in your enemy phase, letting you further customize and tweak, and not necessarily having to think between the battle turn as both player turns, but letting you use your DPP in your turn, and then have a little bit of a reset and rethink and reinforce your defenses in your enemy turn. That's just crazy. I'd love to know how much that can happen. Obviously they're not going to tell us, but I think that ability just stands out. And if it is just one unit and you can take up to the 3 power points and then put them on another unit just to strengthen them up, I think that's really strong. If it's more than one unit, that's ridiculous. But let me know what you think from this preview in the comments below. Obviously do go check out AOS Coach. Fantastic resource for AOS, just all armies, all of the competitive side of stuff. Definitely a channel where you will learn certainly how to improve playing the game, find some interesting tips on your armies. So definitely go and check out AOS Coach. If you enjoyed this, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel. All of the support has been amazing, and I'm very grateful for everybody being here and helping me grow on this platform. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.